Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So tonight I wanted to do a really quick review on a new foundation. This is a very impromptu review. It's about 10:30, 10:45 at night. I didn't feel like setting up my ring light or anything. I just grabbed my camera, my tripod, and I'm actually in my bathroom. So I just wanted to talk about this new foundation that's out by Revlon. It's the new Revlon Colorstay full cover foundation. I actually found out about this foundation through a Facebook ad. It was advertising not only the foundation but a special offer through the Target Cartwheel app, which is an app that you can use to download like different coupons and cashback offers. So the Target Cartwheel had a offer for I think 15% off of all Revlon cosmetics. So since I used the app, I was like, okay, cool. So I'll add the offer to my Cartwheel to try this out. The shade that I use is Toast, which is actually the same shade that I use in their Colorstay liquid foundation. And I don't have any right now that I can show you. But either way, I saw it and I was like, okay, well, if I can use Toast in their Colorstay liquid foundation, then maybe this will work for me as well. One thing that did kind of take me aback is the size of the packaging. So this is like really small. However, I looked down at the ounces and it is 1 ounce, which is pretty much your standard for most foundations. Like for instance, on my last review, I talked about the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made Foundation, which is this one here. This is also 1 ounce. So even though the packaging is smaller, it's still the same amount of foundation. So, all right. So first, let me just say, the first time that I tried this foundation, I hated it. I did not like it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna say how awful it was. Then I was like, you know what? Let me give it a second try. So first, let me tell you why I hated it the first time. I think it was all about the application. So normally when I put on my foundation, I use, sorry, it's a little dirty, but I use my little makeup sponge, which is sort of on the order of like a beauty blender, but this is like a cheap one that I got from Amazon. But I usually just dampen it and then I stipple on my liquid foundation while it's damp, the sponge that is. So I pretty much use the same technique for this foundation. So when I tried to do that the first time, it didn't really blend out that well. All the foundation was pretty much just getting sucked into the sponge. I didn't like it. So I was like, well, let me try something different. So I decided to just try to apply it just using just like a regular triangle sponge. I actually used to use these religiously or normally, like before I started using these sponges. So I pretty much just use this sponge to put it on and just like glide it onto my face, which helped a lot better. I will say that because me using the other sponge didn't really work out that well, I think it has a lot to do with the consistency of the foundation. So if you saw my last review, like I mentioned for this CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made Foundation, I mentioned that the consistency was sort of like a mousse in a way. So this one here is sort of like a foam, like between a foam and a mousse, if that makes sense. So the mousse texture to me is like a little bit more wet, but this is like a dry foam, which makes sense because it says it has matte coverage. So if something has matte coverage, then it should have like a dry texture. So yeah, so I think that has a lot to do with, like I said, how I was putting on the foundation. So I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit out so you can see. can see, this is the consistency of the foundation. It's very like thick or whatever. So it just glides out like that. I kind of put out too much, but that's what it looks like. So once I applied this foundation using the different sponge, I liked it a lot better. I will say that even though this foundation claims to have full coverage, which it does, you have a lot of hyperpigmentation, which like I have, you have a lot of areas that are really dark that you need to cover up. This alone is not going to do the job. You still are going to need to use concealer, which is what I do. So I use the MAC Studio Finish concealer. I've been using this concealer for years. So this concealer matched with this foundation is a really good combination. Also, I'm actually wearing this foundation right now. So I've had this foundation on since probably, I would say about maybe 11:30, 12 o'clock today. It's about maybe 10:45, 10:50 at night right now. It's Labor Day. I went to a cookout in the park. It was about 91, 92 degrees. I was out there for about 2 hours, sweating like crazy, and my foundation barely even budged. Of course, I didn't have to touch up with a little bit of powder later on in the day. When I got to my car and I looked in the mirror, I was like, wow, like this foundation is still, you know, in place. So that's really a testament to the staying power of this foundation. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give this a 4.8. I don't know if I've ever come across a foundation that I thought was like a perfect 5, but this is pretty close. Oh, and I didn't mention, this was in the store for, I believe, $9.99. And I got a 15% off discount. So hopefully they do have a lot more shades that are deeper than Toast. I got this from Target, as I mentioned, and Toast was the deepest shade that they carried. So hopefully they do have some other deeper shades. So yeah, that's it. If you tried this foundation, let me know what you think. If you haven't, I definitely recommend it, especially if you have combination to oily skin like I do. All right, so that's it for now. I will see you in my next video. Bye.